My name's Maurice Clother, green woodworker, and here we are in my workshop. It's the HQ of the Touchwood Empire, my little business. Do lots of green woodworking jobs, helping other people to learn and making lots of different things. And I'd like to tell you about one of my products. It's the birch tree tapping kit. Just little pieces turned on the pole lathe of oak heartwood, grown just up the road in Aikenbury Wood. Essentially you got a tap and you got a bung. And it's tried and tested. It's been evolving over several years. Let's have a taste of the birch sap wine from last year's harvest. Just have a little sniff. Kind of smells maple syrupy. See you in the morning. Here we are in the woods. This wood is called Widow's Wood. It's owned by Anthony Ellison, and he's kindly agreed that I can go and tap a birch tree. There's plenty of birch trees in here, so let's just go and find a suitable one to drill into. Well, here we are deep in the wood, and what have we here? A lovely corkscrew honeysuckle twist on a hazel stick. That will make a lovely walking stick, but that's for another day. Now here's some birch trees. These ones, perhaps a bit small. It'd be unkind to take the sap from these. I recognise them as birch trees for the white or reddish colour on the bark. It can vary a lot. Sometimes they're much darker, and they've often got a horizontal striations on the bark. And one feature which you can recognise birch trees by in the winter as well is the red twigs. The twigs are very distinctly red, although you can't see so much of them here. I think I'll ignore these trees, and perhaps I can see a better one. Let's have a look at that. Yeah, this one is a beauty. Nice big tree. It's a good foot across at the bottom, and it's a big long thing, and it's got its crown right up there in the top, so it's a big healthy tree. So let's see what we can do with this. First of all, I need my cordless drill. Well, the Makita is back in the workshop on charge. Lithium-ion battery's great, but the brace and bit, the batteries are well topped up on this, thanks to half a can of baked beans a couple of hours ago. So, to drill for the tap, just into the side of the tree, I'm using a 5/8 drill bit. If you're using your Makita, the ideal thing would be a 16mm auger bit, even a spade bit would do, anything that's 16mm. Now, the drill hole is going to be on an upwards angle, so not horizontal, not up there, but coming up from the bottom so that sap can flow out. It's very important to get a nice clean cut, so a sharp drill bit is ideal. You've got to go in, let's say an inch is a good amount, because we're going to go in below the bark into the wood by perhaps half an inch. So I think just a little bit more. That should do it. That's great. I can see a little bit of moisture appearing there already. Gonna have to go a bit more. That'll be it. Inside my bag I've got some of these taps. They're turned on the pole lathe from oak heartwood, very simple, with a hole through the middle. It's a tapering tap, so all I need to do is just take a mallet or a lump of wood. Oh, it's already dripping out of there. Let's just have a taste before we get any. Oh, that's the stuff. Yummy. There's a little bit of sawdust or something there. I'll just get it out. And right, I'm just going to drill a little hole into the water container. The container that I'm collecting the sap in is a 5 litre water container. You can buy drinking water from any supermarket in these. And to match the touchwood oak taps, you'll want a 7/8 drill bit or a 22mm if you're using metric. It's nice to have an auger bit with these little spurs because they're like a hole cutter, and they'll act like the spurs will just score a little circle. First of all, the screw just goes in very gently, just rotating that backwards and forwards to finish scoring that line. All right, there we are. You'll see why. Right, that should do nicely. Don't want to leave any litter in the wood. Oh, it's dripping out of there like anything. And then that whole 7/8 will just pop over the blob on the end of the tap, and that holds the container nicely on there. Easy. Great, that's a few of these trees tapped now. The sap's dripping into all of them, good style. Yep, this one's been going perhaps 10 minutes, quarter of an hour, and there's perhaps half a pint in there. Well, it's going to take a little while for these to fill up, so let's go back to the workshop and I'll show you how I make the little oak tree taps. So here we are back at the workshop now. Happily the weather's brightened up a bit for now, sun's come out, and I've got some oak billets which are already at least half dry, ready to turn these little plugs and taps. Because they're going into the hole in the plastic bottle is 22mm. This is set to about 24. So if I just turn the thickness to that, it's just under an inch. If I just turn the thickness down to that, and then we can shape the little taps and plugs. You can always cut more off, but we'll struggle to stick it back on. So I'll just mark out one, two, and three. Just mark the heads too. So now it's just important with this pole lathe turning to only let the chisel touch the work on the downstroke, and you have to pull it back on the return. Right, they're pretty much done, apart from separating them off with a fine saw. I'll just grab a handful of the shavings that's come off and just burnish them a little bit. Standard practice at touch wood. It gives a little bit of a polish, which helps to seal the things because they're going to be used with liquid. So there. This is a very nice saw. It's a pull saw, and it actually makes a very smooth cut. Doesn't have the teeth marks that we often see with using Sandvik or panel type saws. I'll just let it drop onto there. Some of these will be drilled through to be taps, and some of them will just stay as they are to be plugs. We've been here a while now. Let's head back to the woods and see how much sap's collected in our bottles. So they were useful. Off we go. So now you've seen how we make the touchwood oak birch tree taps, and we've collected up most of the sap that's been collected in this first day. Let's have a little taste of the sap and see what we've got. Just a little taste. That's, yeah. Well, yeah, that's lovely. It tastes a bit like water, a lot like water, because it's a very dilute type of solution of sugar and all the birch tree goodies. Really refreshing on its own. Or you could do what whiskey connoisseurs do and freeze it into ice cubes to have with your single malt whiskey. Or you could make some wine with it, along with the touchwood recipe. Or the other one is to make syrup. Now what you have to do is reduce it to somewhere around 1% of its original volume. Boil it quite hard for the first half, and then once it's gone to half of its original volume, probably best to slow that boiling right down, just to a gentle simmer, if that, or you could even use a bain-marie to finish it off. The thing is, if you boil it too hard in the last phase, you tend to get a treacly effect. It goes quite dark, and as well as being sweet, can be a little bit bitter. So, so it's best to do that boiling very gently. But it's lovely syrup. Enjoy it with your pancakes next year or something like that. Keeps forever. So yeah, we'll pop back tomorrow and the next few days, and we'll collect some more sap. I imagine probably do this for about a week, and then we'll we'll close the taps to allow the trees to grow on through the year. Well, it's got to be a week since we tapped these trees, and I think now we're going to call it a day, and we'll close the taps and finish the job off till next year. That's the last little bit of sap, just going back in the container. All right, so we'll collect up the containers. And now I've got, just remove the tap, and now I've got another little bung, turned just the same but without the hole through the middle. Pop it in, sharp tap with the mallet, and that's job done. We'll pop down next year and have another look. So enjoy your touchwood birch tree tapping. Don't forget, last couple of weeks of February, first couple of weeks of March, your season should be around then. It varies a bit sometimes, so you just have to keep trying. It's before the buds swell up and burst.